Hello, citizens of the planet. Welcome back to Monday Musings with Larry Lelli. And this past week marked the reading of the nominations for this year's annual Drama Desk Awards, which celebrate, artistic achievements in all theater, both off-Broadway and Broadway here in New York City. And this past week we were, all of us here in the professional music community were really offended that the board decided without reason to eliminate the category for best orchestrations in a musical. They haven't given any reason, and in fact there is no good reason that they should have done that. So we're very offended because orchestrations are one of the most important elements of any musical production. So that brings us to the second part of today's musing, which is, what is an orchestration and what does an orchestrator do? Well, the orchestrator for a music theater piece will take the music from the composer, which usually consists of a melody that the singer will sing, and then a harmony or the chords that will accompany the notes that the singer is singing. And that orchestrator will take that and they make the decision who in the orchestra and what combination of instruments are going to play all those notes. And it's almost as important, that job, as the actual composer of the music themselves. And it's equally as important as any other design element in the show, whether it's the lyrics or the book, the script, the words that people speak, or the set design, or the lighting design, or the direction, or the actual acting in the show. This is one of the most important elements of the show. And that's why we're fighting for it, because that, depending on what that orchestrator decides, it will evoke the mood of that song. If they would decide to assign all those notes to 4 flute players, that would sound very different than if they decided to assign all those 4 notes to trumpet players. And so that, that's just the black and white of it, of what orchestration is. They make all those decisions to create the sound that the director and that the composer want for the piece. Do they want you to feel like you're in the 1920s? Then that's going to mean a certain set of instruments that were typically played together back then. Or do they want it to sound like the 1980s, a rock band from the 1980s? Well, that is going to mean a different group, a totally different group of instruments and different sounds that they were using in the 80s as opposed to the 20s. And the orchestrator is the person who makes those decisions and makes those things work and figures out a way to make them work. So that's just the basic orchestrating 101. Hopefully that makes sense. And we need your support to help keep the Drama Desk Award for orchestrations. So go to my Facebook page. There's a link on there to change.org where there's a petition you can sign to save the Drama Desk Award for Best Orchestrations. And so we can keep giving recognition to our orchestrators who so, rightfully deserve it. Okay, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.